Mm. Om. So we are trailing the invisible paths where we may have the encounters with what we call these unteachable learnings, which are these kind of memories, these remembrances that we have yet in our own bone memory, memories of our greater togetherness, of how to tap into this well of abundance that is ever burbling up through us that we have access to, but seems for most people just ever out of reach. And in that, we can have this felt sense that you probably already recognize something has been forgotten. Something has been forgotten. There's something here that we haven't quite been able to give voice to, right? That veil that weaves us back into this spell or this enchantment of being separate from the rest of creation, an enchantment of scarcity. And so we are trying to put back the pieces. See, the elders have shared we've fallen out of our story. We've fallen out of the earth story. And we had become orphaned in the world with a kind of amnesia where we no longer remember the powers we have to bloom, the dreamings that we hold within, the powers to be in a greater sense of flow, to be a part of the story that is being lived through us, recognizing the earth is dreaming us into the world. And so you can see how many people right now are questioning their life, questioning who they are, questioning their purpose, who haven't been able to tap into this well of abundance and yet have this colonized mindset of scarcity. So we are trailing these invisible trails back. And the way we do it is restoring a kind of soul speech that brings us back into the language of soul, which is through imagery and symbols and mythic expression, through the stories that activate that which is in our bone memory. For example, listen into the imagery and the stirrings this poem by Meister Eckhart has. And it's called When I Was the Forest. When I was the stream, when I was the forest, when I was every hoof, foot, fin, and wing, when I was the sky itself, no one ever asked me if I had a purpose. No one ever asked what I might need, for there was nothing I could not love. It was only when I left, all that we once were, the agony began, the fear and the questions came. And I wept, and I wept. Tears I had never known before came. And so I returned to the mountains. I returned to the forest. And I begged for their hand in marriage again. Again. I begged and I begged to wed every object and creature. And they accepted. And they accepted. God was ever present in my arms. And she did not say, where have you been? Where have you been? She did not ask, where have you been? And it was then I knew my soul, and every soul has always been held by her. It's a poem by Meister Eckhart, a Christian mystic from 1260 to about 28 AD. So in this poem, we have that felt sense. When I was the forest, when I was the stream, when I was the sky itself, when I was every foot, hoof, fin, and wing, no one ever asked me if I had a purpose. When you look into the forest and you look to raven or deer, when you look to eagle perched on that branch, you can sense that they just are. They are part of the original memory. They do not question their purpose. They do not live in that state of agony and not knowing the amnesia, right? When I was the forest, the stream, when I was the sky itself, no one asked me what I might need. See, in that remembrance of being a part of the greater dreaming of the earth, we want for nothing, for the earth is abundant and ever giving. And yet you can see when we left that knowledge, when we left that memory of our greater belonging, that's when the agony began. The fear and the questions came. Who am I? Where am I? Where is my power to bloom the dreamings held inside of me? And so we see, like a lot of the elders is saying, that we have long been spellcast. We've been brought underneath the enchantment of our separateness, our powerlessness. And when we feel we are alone and isolated, we feel we have no power and that life is an adversary. And so we are in this process of breaking spells, this colonized Christian mentality that keeps us isolated away from creation, that tries to capture and cage our spirituality and our essence. So we are decolonizing, returning to a kind of earth psychology. And we are trailing the invisible paths, restoring a mythic kind of language, because we know that the language of soul is through imagery, through symbols, through the stories that give voice to that which ordinary words cannot give voice to. When we look around, we no longer see the elders and the shamans, the pathways to initiate us back into the originality of it all. And so we are seeking out not information to learn, but these felt experiences, the stories and the conversations that stir the memories that are held in our bone memory. We're going out into the land, where the land can break us open to the felt experience of its own beauty. And we restore our part in the beauty making of it all. And we remember our powers, we remember our connection. What a beautiful journey. This is our time of breaking enchantments and remembering ourselves home. And if you feel a resonance here, I want to invite you to gather around the virtual fireside with me to a journey we call Earth Speech, where we're trailing the old stories, the songs, restoring the mythic imagery that reweaves us back into the memory. Look to the links below if you are interested. Introduce yourself to me. Let's begin the conversation. We've become part of the conversations, the fires, and the stories that, trail the invisible to those unteachable learnings that become ours again. Home. Honor to serve. Home.